My name is Daniel Hartman. I'm 46 years old, and for most of my adult life I believed I understood what loyalty meant. I grew up in a quiet suburb outside Chicago, built a career in real estate management from the ground up, and lived the kind of life people call stable, steady job, steady home, steady routines. And then I met Lena. She wasn't the kind of woman you expect to fall for at my age, bright, ambitious, sharp in every conversation, with eyes that made you forget the rest of the room. We met at a charity networking event. She spilled wine on my sleeve, apologized like it was the end of the world, and somehow we ended up talking for hours. 3 months later, she moved into my apartment. 6 months later, I proposed. Everything about us felt fast but right. She made me believe I'd found that rare thing most men stop hoping for, someone who sees you, chooses you, stays with you. I trusted her so deeply that I never even thought about looking for cracks. But cracks were there, tiny ones at first, the kind you ignore because love blinds you. Late-night work emergencies, a sudden obsession with keeping her phone locked, smirks she tried to hide when she texted someone at midnight. I tried to rationalize everything. Work stress, a new project, a demanding boss. She had explanations ready for everything, and I swallowed every one of them because I wanted to believe my wife couldn't betray me. Until the night I found out. It wasn't dramatic. No lipstick on a collar, no overheard confession. Just a simple message notification flashing across her phone when she stepped out of the shower. A name I recognized. A colleague she once said barely even talks to her. But the message said enough. And in that moment something inside me cracked open, not rage, not heartbreak, but a cold, focused clarity I had never felt before. I didn't confront her. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I simply understood that the life I built with her had already died, long before I realized it. And from that moment on, everything I did was deliberate, careful, silent, and she never saw it coming. The morning after I saw the message, I acted exactly as she expected me to: calm, predictable, dependable Daniel. I brewed her coffee the way she liked it, kissed her on the forehead before she left for work, and told her I'd be home late reviewing investment proposals. She smiled, relieved. She thought she was in control. But while she believed I was losing myself in spreadsheets, I was sitting in my car across from her office building, watching the same colleague she barely talked to walk out with her, both of them laughing a little too freely for people who were just working overtime. I didn't take pictures. I didn't need to. The confirmation was enough. Instead, I started preparing. People underestimate how much power you gain when you stop reacting emotionally. I didn't chase them. Didn't confront her, didn't ask questions. I simply collected information, slowly, methodically. Bank statements she didn't think I had access to. Email accounts she forgot were synced to our home computer. Phone backups she believed she had deleted. Every breadcrumb she left behind painted the same picture. The flirting, the lunches, the lies, and finally the night she claimed she was exhausted from work. She was careful, but I was patient. Over the next week, I visited my lawyer, not one of those everyday divorce attorneys, but a specialist in cases involving hidden assets and infidelity. He showed me how to build a legal framework that would dismantle her life piece by piece without her even realizing the walls were closing in. And the best part, my silence protected me. A guilty person always becomes paranoid when their victim acts calm. Lena started studying my face when I walked in the door. She checked my phone when she thought I wasn't looking. She asked me twice if I was happy. She touched me more, kissed me more, as if she sensed something slipping but didn't know what. She had no idea I was already gone. No idea I was building an exit so clean and devastating that she wouldn't recover from it. But the moment everything changed, truly changed, it was the night she came home late, wearing a perfume she never wore around me. She kissed my cheek, fake and sweet, then disappeared into the shower humming quietly to herself. Her phone lit up again. Another message. Another lie. And as I read it, I realized something simple, chilling, liberating. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was laughing at me. That was the moment Mercy died. I didn't sleep that night. Not because of anger. I had already burned through that. What kept me awake was clarity. The cold kind that settles into your bones and refuses to leave. The kind that makes everything feel sharp, organized, inevitable, while Lena slept beside me, breathing softly like the same woman I once planned a future with. I sat in the living room with my laptop open, working through the final stages of a plan I'd never imagined I would need. The first step was financial. Months earlier, she'd persuaded me to put her name on several joint accounts, just in case something happened. I reversed all of that by sunrise. Accounts quietly frozen, credit lines shifted, automatic transfers rerouted. She wouldn't notice for a few days, and by then it would be too late. The second step was professional. Her company was strict about internal relationships, especially between co-workers on the same team. I didn't need to get her fired. She would do that herself with the right push. So I compiled every message, every photo from those team dinners, every suspicious timestamp she thought she hid. I didn't send them yet. Timing mattered. The third step was psychological. People like Lena don't fear losing the relationship. They fear losing their image, their orbit, their control. So I started pulling back in invisible ways, subtle changes she'd feel but couldn't measure. No more good morning texts, no more casual affection, no more predictable routines. Instead, I became quiet. Not distant quiet, not angry, composed. And that unnerved her more than shouting ever could. On the third day, she stood in the doorway watching me pack a small overnight bag. Her smile looked forced, brittle. Business trip, she asked. I nodded. Something like that. She waited. I didn't offer more. Her eyes flickered. Doubt, fear, guilt all swirling together. She stepped closer, touching my arm like she used to when she wanted reassurance. Daniel, are we okay? I looked at her the same way she had looked at me the night she came home smelling like another man, studying her, weighing her, questioning how much of what stood before me was even real. We're fine, I said calmly. And that calmness broke her more than anger ever could. She stood frozen in the hallway long after I left, but I wasn't going on a business trip. I was meeting with someone who unknowingly held the final piece of my plan, the colleague she cheated with. He had no idea I was coming, no idea what I knew, no idea his life was about to collapse too. Because I wasn't just going to ruin Lena's lives. I was going to ruin his career, his reputation, his comfort, everything he risked mine for. Not with violence, not with threats, but with truth packaged the right way in the right hands, at the right moment. They had taken something from me. Now I was going to take everything from them. I found him exactly where I expected, alone in a corner booth of a coffee shop near his office. Buried in spreadsheets on his laptop, the picture of a man who thought his secrets were safely tucked beneath a normal life. His name was Ethan Daly, 33, divorcee, mid-level manager, the kind of man who smiled too widely and apologized too quickly, the kind men like me never see as threats until it's too late. He didn't recognize me when I approached his table. Mind if I sit? I asked. He blinked, confused, glancing behind me as if I might be talking to someone else. Do I know you? No, I said, lowering myself into the chair opposite him. But you know my wife. His face drained of color so fast, it was almost impressive. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. I don't look, man, if this is stop. I cut him off quietly. Don't insult me by lying. Not today. He swallowed hard, eyes darting toward the door, toward the other tables, anywhere but at me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't lean forward. I simply placed a small folder on the table between us. The way his hand shook told me he recognized it before he opened it. Screenshots, messages, hotel receipts, photos he thought he'd deleted. He stared at the evidence like it was a live explosive. I'm not here to fight, I said calmly. I'm here to explain what happens next. He finally looked at me, and his voice cracked. Please, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I'm sure you didn't, I replied. Affairs rarely begin with intent, but consequences don't care about intentions. I slid the folder closer to him. This stays quiet, I said. For now, as long as you cooperate. What do you want from me? Nothing dramatic, I said. I want you to keep doing your job, showing up like everything is normal. And then, when the time comes, I want you to resign. No fight, no counter-argument, no suspicion. Resign. He repeated, stunned. Daniel, please, my job is everything I have. I'll lose everything. So did I said softly. Difference is you chose it. He slumped back, face pale, breath shallow. He knew I meant it. He knew I had him completely cornered. And beneath all his panic, guilt, shame, there was something else. Relief. Because deep down, he wanted out. Men like him always do. I'm not going to ruin your life today, I said. But I will, if you step out of line. If you warn her, if you mention this meeting, if you try to cover your tracks, I release everything to HR, your boss, your ex-wife's attorney, and Lena herself. He squeezed his eyes shut. I won't say a word. I know, I said, standing. You don't have the backbone to. I left him staring at the folder like a corpse, but my day wasn't over. When I got home, Lena was in the kitchen, pretending to cook, pretending not to be rattled by my silence. She smiled too brightly when she saw me. You're home early. I stepped closer, studying her face the way she used to study mine when she lied. So, I asked calmly, how was work today, Lena? She froze. She knew the way animals know a storm is coming, and for the first time since the affair started, I saw fear in her eyes. Real fear. The kind that told me she finally understood I knew, and her world was about to fall apart. She didn't answer my question, not right away. She just stood there, wooden spoon in hand, staring at me as if the right expression might save her. Fear flickered across her face first, then confusion, then a smile so forced it almost hurt to look at. Work was normal, she said slowly. Why? I didn't blink. Because I talked to Ethan today. Her breath caught with an audible hitch. She tried to speak, but nothing came out. Her fingers tightened around the spoon until her knuckles turned white. I took another step toward her. You want to try again? I asked. Tell me how work was. The spoon slipped from her hand and clattered onto the floor. Daniel, please, she whispered. I can explain. That's funny, I said. He said the same thing. Her knees weakened slightly, and she caught herself on the counter. For a brief moment she looked genuinely small, fragile, even like she might collapse under the weight of everything she'd done. But then her eyes hardened, and something inside her shifted. She wasn't ready to confess. She wasn't ready to crumble. She wanted to fight. You're wrong, she said, her voice trembling but sharp. Whatever he told you, he's lying. He's obsessed with me. I never. You're insulting both of us now, I interrupted. And you're not good at lying under pressure. You stutter on vowels, and your left hand twitches. You've done it since the day I met you. Her jaw clenched. I reached into my jacket and placed another folder on the counter, this one thicker, heavier. She stared at it like it was a weapon. What's that? The truth, I said. Yours. She didn't open it. She didn't need to. Her eyes filled with tears instantly. How long have you known? She whispered. Long enough. Why didn't you say anything? Because I needed everything. Every detail. Every message, call, meeting, lie. She closed her eyes. A single tear slid down her cheek. Daniel, I'm sorry. No, I said softly. You're sorry you got caught. She looked up at me, then really looked. And the fear in her eyes finally cracked into something deeper. Desperation. She stepped closer and reached for my hand, her voice breaking. I still love you. I pulled my hand away. You love the version of me that didn't know, I said. You love the convenience, the comfort, the man who trusted you blindly. She shook her head violently. Please, don't do this. We can fix it. We, I echoed. There hasn't been a we in months. Silence stretched between us, suffocating. Then I set the terms calm, precise, irreversible. You're going to pack your things, I said. You're going to leave tonight. You will not contact me unless it's about the settlement. You will not return to this house. And you will not speak to Ethan again. Her eyes widened in shock. You want to divorce me. It's not what I want, I said. It's what's left. She covered her mouth, sobbing silently. For a moment I almost felt something pitied, maybe nostalgia. But it passed quickly. Too quickly. And Daniel, what about him? She whispered. Ethan, are you going to ruin him? I met her gaze with a calm she couldn't comprehend. No, I said. He'll ruin himself. I just nudged him toward it. What does that mean? You'll see, she cried harder then, because she understood what I wasn't saying. She knew the man standing in front of her wasn't the one she betrayed. This version of me was colder, cleaner, sharper, sharp enough to cut away everything that no longer belonged. She grabbed a small bag and stumbled to the bedroom. 10 minutes later she returned with her keys and her coat. She hesitated at the door, looking at me like a ghost lingering at the edge of its own funeral. I never meant to hurt you, she whispered. But you did, I replied. And now you live with it. She nodded weakly and stepped outside. I didn't watch her walk to the car. I didn't watch her leave. I just listened to the silence that followed, the first honest silence I'd heard in months. And for the first time since discovering the truth, I felt something close to peace. Not forgiveness, not healing, just clarity. And clarity was enough.